Good evening, everyone. This is Sinan Ertemel, impresario of Balletistan. Welcome to our 10th episode of Balletistan Wednesday Talk. Today, I am very happy to have Prima Ballerina of the Vienna State Ballet, Mrs. Natascha Mair.
Hey!
Welcome to our program. Great to have you today. So today we are going to follow your very successful ballet career, mostly in Vienna, but at the same time international tours and galas. So let's start from the beginning. When and how did you start dancing?
I started with 5 years old, actually, in a small ballet school in Vienna. And with 7, my teacher in that small ballet school actually told me I should try it at the Vienna State Ballet School. So with 7, I started there. And I always loved it. And it was like getting more and more intense over the years. And my parents are both not dancers. So they kept asking me if I really wanted to do that. So I was getting really ambitious and I just didn't want to stop. And I was getting more and more motivated over the years. And at some point, I just knew that that's what I want to do, that's what I can do, and that's what I want to succeed at.
So you are from Vienna. It's one of the cultural centers in Europe and also in the world. An international city with vibrant city life, and it is also on top of the rankings, the city with the most quality of life. So you are from Vienna and you started your career and you are still like dancing in Vienna. Can you tell us about your city and what is the inspiration that you get from Vienna?
I think Vienna has always been a great lifestyle. I think everyone who has been here can agree that there is not many problems. It's a very calm way of living. There's no huge problems actually compared to other places in the world. If you compare the news, it's always been a tiny bit better here. So yeah, it's always been very nice, but I actually was never really aware of that part of it because I was always so focused and in my ballet bubble that yeah, it was like this way, and Austria was around and there was all the culture that obviously I experienced, I learned about in school, and I saw a lot of it, but I think you really sometimes forget to appreciate it when you live and grow up at a place. And I think the older I get, the more I can see it and the more I can appreciate the culture of the city and everything also that I've learned from here. And also the Vienna State Opera is like a very beautiful building, and we have the orchestra, which is one of the best orchestras in the world. So it's really inspired by this as well, and I think also the music is so important, and there's a lot of inspiration in Austria.
You started dancing at the age of 5, and can you tell us when you started Vienna Ballet School? At what age were you at that time?
I was 7 when I went into the Vienna State Ballet School, so quite early.
Can you tell us about your studies? Who were your teachers?
We have many different teachers, so I change teacher like almost every second year. So I've worked with many teachers. I was working with Galina Skuratova, Gabriele Haslinger, many, I can't count all of them, Terry, and like from all over the world, also coming and leaving teachers. So I've learned a lot from many different teachers.
Right. And then can you tell us about the international competitions that you participated while you were a student?
I've actually didn't participate in so many competitions, only when I was 17, before I joined the company. I participated in 2 competitions, and that was the only ones I've done. So first I went to a competition in China, where I won like a special jury prize, and it was the first competition I've ever done. And I remember it being very draining and hard and emotionally like a roller coaster, and it was really tough. And only a few weeks later, in that same year, I was going to Rome for the Premier Roma Dancer, and I was way more relaxed that time because I already knew how it was going, and I was doing my variations and I was enjoying them, and I won first prize at this competition. So yeah, and ever since actually I haven't done any, but I think it's a really nice experience, and for every student you can really learn a lot. And yeah, I think it's something you should at least do once in your life.
What was the variation that you danced in China?
In China, on this picture right now, it's Aurora, the variation from Third Act. And I also did 3 other variations. I also did the modern variation, this one. Then I did Black Swan variation, one of the shades of Bayadère, and Kitri Third Act variation as well. So it was quite intense.
And what happened like after the school? I think your first choice should have been Vienna State Opera, right? So, like, how was the transition from the school to opera?
Actually, when I was, I think 16, Manuel wanted me to already join the company, but my parents were insisting that I finish the school, like the school next to ballet school as well. So what I did then was that I skipped 1 year in the normal school and in the ballet school. So I graduated both schools with 17 and immediately joined the company with 17 then.
Right, and then you promoted to like demi soloist to soloist every 2 years. So your promotion was like very quick. I mean, can you explain like this like very quick like promotion in the opera?
It's obviously not usual in most of the companies, but I've been like with Manuel, we've been growing up with him, and he saw our potential, and so he was promoting me first to half soloist. And actually, before I got promoted, I already danced Clara and Nutcracker, so I already did the main role before my first promotion. And from then on, I also never expected to get promoted, and always just kept working. And he always surprised me after 2 years that he saw an improvement, that he wanted to promote me. And it was always a big motivation to just keep working. And it just continued like this. And yeah, I still can't believe how well everything went.
Can you like tell us about the last promotion, like when you became the principal dancer? It was the performance of Nutcracker, as far as I remember.
Yeah, the promotion after Nutcracker was definitely the most emotional one, because all the other promotions happened after at the end of the year. But Nutcracker happened in December, on 27th of December, and it was right after the performance on stage. The director of the house, Dominique Mayer, came on stage and he started his speech, and I already like knew that this was not normal. And it was as well live streaming at this show, so it wasn't just the people in the audience seeing it, it was also a lot of people watching from home that wrote me after, and it was very overwhelming because it was very not expected. I didn't even know. My emotions were just high up, because also with all the adrenaline from just dancing, that's really exhausting. ballet by Nureyev, it was like on top of this grade, and my friends were there and everyone was supporting me, my family, and I was really, yeah, overwhelmed.
Emmanuel Allegri is from Paris Opera. He used to be étoile there. So I think that's how like he got promoted as well. He was also quite young as far as I remember, maybe 21 years old when he got promoted. So probably he wanted to treat the dancers as he was treated by Nureyev.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he was kind of like a child, I think, to Nureyev. And I also feel like that's how he treated me and a few other dancers, that he was really raising us like a ballet dad. So I think he will always say that to us.
Can you tell us the artistic process of working with Emmanuel? Like how is it? How is he on the studio?
He's very, very inspiring. He knows everything. Like if he corrects you, he's one of these people. I would never question his corrections, because I know that he really knows a lot, not just about technique, but about acting, about all kind of things. And if he says something, I trust for 100% that this is going to be the right thing, and I don't doubt it. So working with him was always really like, I just did what he said. And he's also very intense. So when he comes in the studio, it feels like I automatically become that rush of energy. It can be any day. I could be the most tired I've ever been. When I see him come into the studio, I'm on like 200%. And because he gives that same energy, and he never gives less energy, he's always like on top, and that's what he expects from us. And it was an adjustment in the beginning, but I think that's what we do now all the time. And I sometimes even realized that when other choreographers or people came to work with us, I've heard more than once that I'm working too hard and I give too much energy, more rather than too less. And I think that's something I got from Manuel.
Right, and like I see that the repertoire of Vienna Opera is quite diverse, ranging from classical to neoclassical and modern. And I remember in the World Ballet Day, you were rehearsing Jewels, and I think like Manuel like brought a repetiteur from American Ballet Theater. Can you also like describe about the repertoire in Vienna?
Yeah, so Manuel always gave us incredible opportunities. He brought all the top pieces from all over the world, from choreographers, from the old classics, a lot from Nureyev. He also made his own creations. He brought Balanchine pieces, where he brought people from Balanchine Trust to work with us for weeks, and Foresight, modern pieces, really everything you can possibly imagine. And he never like left any opportunities out. We even had like young talent productions where when we were younger we could have even big roles. And yeah, he made a great mixture of everything.
Who is your partner here?
This is Robert Kaptulin. He's Russian. He was dancing in Poland before, and he's a principal at Vienna State Opera. And yeah, I didn't dance so many times with him. I also danced Nutcracker with him actually when I got promoted. But it's really nice to dance with him. He's a great partner, beautiful lines. You can just really trust him. So that was nice to work with him as well.
You dance like many principal roles already, like at this young age. Can you like go over like the most emotional and important pieces in your career? For example, I remember your Coppelia. So we have a like small video, a trailer.
So Coppelia was definitely one of my big highlights because I was the premiere cast, so I got to prepare the piece as first cast. I was doing all the big publicities, and it was really inspiring process because I got quite a few shows, not just in Vienna. We also performed in Russia at the Dance Open Festival, and the more I did the role, the more it became a part of me. So I started really performing it more and more, and I really loved every second. And I'm quite sad we would have done it again, actually, but then due to Corona, it was cancelled, the last shows. But I mean, I've done a lot of them, but it's really fun to every show put the different input, a different little something in the role.
When did you dance Emeralds? Do you remember?
Emerald was in the beginning of this season, like of the last season. I think, yeah, it was in the very beginning. So that was also very nice process working with Ben from New York. He's very great to work with as well.
Right. And can you like tell us about the tours that you have? You already went to Kremlin Ballet, and I remember you also went to Ljubljana. What did you dance there?
So in Kremlin, I was dancing Swan Lake. It was really one of the biggest things I've done because it was huge audience, a big deal. I was dancing with Isaac from English National Ballet, who I've never danced with before, and we worked together with Tamara, which was a great and inspiring process for me. So I've learned a lot in a really short time. So this was a big deal, and I really enjoyed it. And I also really love Swan Lake. I think it's a great classic. So it's something that will never get old, in my opinion. And yeah, that was one of the things. I also guess many other things. For example, in Ljubljana, I did Sleeping Beauty with Jakob, who is my lifelong friend, partner. We learned pas de deux together, we grew up together, and we guested in Ljubljana for Sleeping Beauty, and that was also a lot of fun. So I, in general, really enjoy guestings because I feel like in other countries I get different energies because I get very excited about the new audience, the new stage, and it's really a great adventure every time.
Right. You also have been you also have been to Aspendos, Turkey.
Yes, that was my first Swan Lake I've ever danced was in Aspendos in Turkey. And the pictures now there from Sleeping Beauty, which was also my first Sleeping Beauty I've ever danced. And it was a challenge, but actually it wasn't as hard as I expected because I think I really just enjoyed it.
All right. And it looks like this important classical roles like Swan Lake and Sleeping Beauty, you had to go to a tour in order to dance it because I think Vienna has very diverse like repertoire. It might like take time to dance it in Vienna, I suppose.
We had both of it in the repertoire, but Sleeping Beauty, for example, when we had it in Vienna, I was half soloist, or maybe not even half soloist. So I was doing Bluebird pas de deux, I was dancing group, I was doing all the other things, but not Aurora at this point because I was very young. And yeah, Swan Lake was the same. I was doing Four Little Swans, like all the other roles, and then it was finally my turn last year, and obviously not in Vienna because we didn't have it in the program then. So it's always like luck as well in the profession if you get to do a role or not.
Among the ones that you danced so far, which one was your favorite?
it's very, very hard to say because all of them have their different things that make them very special. I mean, obviously the ones we just mentioned mean a lot to me. They've been very special to me and to my career. But I also love dancing La Fille Magade, which I feel like is really describing my personal character in a way, because I love playing that little child. It's very easy for me because it's like a personality thing I can just do on stage without trying hard. But I also love challenging myself with emotional ballets. Like I really enjoyed dancing Olga in Onegin. To have that drama on stage is something so beautiful, and I sometimes really slip so much in the role that it gets really overwhelming. So there was also, like, for example, a modern ballet that I really enjoyed dancing was Plagin with Davide Dato, where it's very sad, the story, and very emotional. And in the end of the ballet, I was really crying for real. Like I was almost like throbbing because it was so emotional. And so I just really can't say which is my favorite ballet, because it depends on the time, it depends on a lot of things, and I feel like all of them have their special moments and make them something great.
And this is a choreography of Manuel
Yes,
Donizetti.
this is Donizetti Pas de Deux. It's a Pas de Deux that Manuel choreographed many years ago, even before he came to Vienna. I think he choreographed it for some young dancers in Paris Opera. And he brought it to Vienna, and it was used for gala performances. And once I learned it as well, and he worked with me on it. I used it for one gala, and ever since I must have danced it with many different partners in every country you can imagine, because it's just perfect for a gala. It's like it has everything. It's exciting to watch, and it's fun to do.
So before the corona, for which role were you preparing? What was the next performance?
Before Corona, we had Triple Bill, a new Triple Bill, where I was dancing movements to Stravinsky. It was a neoclassical piece by Andras Lukas. He's a new choreographer who used to be a dancer of the company, and now he is choreographer. Now he is actually starting the season as a artistic director in Dior Ballet, and he's very talented. His choreographies are unbelievably beautiful, and I really loved working with him as well. So that was the last thing I did, and we were supposed to have a few more shows that got cancelled. It was actually like on the day where they cancelled it was supposed to be a show. So at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we found out that we weren't going to go on stage that day. So that was really sad, but I'm really lucky that I did some shows of it, and it was an amazing experience as well.
It was a triple bill, and you also danced between dogs and wolves.
No, I only danced this one piece from the triple.
Okay, my bad. So this is more like modern piece. Like, do you have any genre which is closer to your heart? Are you more classical person or contemporary?
I think in general, people would put me more into the box of classical ballet, which I love to do and I really enjoy. But I do like neoclassical ballet a lot as well, because you have a wider range of movement, and also modern. I really enjoy it, but what I like even more is pieces where you can act. So if there's a modern or neoclassical piece with a storyline, I would prefer that. But in general, I just like to express myself with movement or acting.
You have a strong partnership with some of your colleagues in Vienna and also in Europe. And I think you recently started with a project, European Ballet Theatre project. Can you tell us about that? Like, what is your mission?
So it started like this, that Jakob Pfeifferlich and I were asked to plan a gala performance in summer. So we started planning that, and then it was supposed to be in China for this summer. And as things went before that already, we created this kind of association to make things easier, to get our people together, to plan that gala performance with, just to make it a bit easier for us to plan it. But then Corona happened, and obviously we weren't going to go to China anymore. And then all the other countries got kind of closed as well. So we soon realized that it wasn't an option anymore to travel this summer. We hope to travel next summer or whenever it is possible to organize some kind of gala performances or evening programs with our closest friends and incredible dancers. And for now, during Corona, we just changed our idea a little bit, and we made some video project, which I can't tell a lot about because it's all going to come out at some point, and we will inform you when the time is coming. But for now, we have to keep it a little quiet, but it will be for sure great, and we can't wait to show everyone what we've done during this time.
We are all looking forward to. And can you tell us about other friends that you have in Vienna? So you are, I think, close friend with Nikisha Fogo.
Yes, I have a few very close friends. So there's Jakob, which we see in the picture right now. It's like a childhood friend. He was my first pas de deux partner. We know since we're children. We're like brother and sister. And then over the years, so there's Nikisha Fogo, who I'm sure everyone who knows my Instagram has seen her like on every second picture, as well as James Stevens and a few other dancers who I'm very close with. So the thing is that when Manuel hired us, we were all very young, so we soon created this very close and intense friendships, and we became family. And this never changed, which I think is very rare in this profession, because obviously there's a lot of competition, and we both kept getting a lot of chances, which I think made it easier. So Manuel always pushed both of us in a way, and our friendship always just got stronger. And a lot of people have asked me about it, because it's not so often that two principal dancers at the same house have such a close friendship. But I think with us, it's just we never really doubt our friendship, because I know she's there for me and she knows I'm there for her, and it's like we're not friends, we're family.
And both Jakob and Nikisha, they moved to other theaters. Nikisha went to San Francisco Ballet, and Jakob...
She will go to San Francisco. Jakob will go to Amsterdam. Then James will go to Royal Danish. And I think a lot of people in Vienna, especially my closest friends, are spreading all over the world at the moment.
So, like in that sense, I think your project is very important, like bringing your friends together.
That is one of the goals as well, that we have like little projects where we can have a reason to get everyone together and dance together again, so that this will always stay a connection for us.
Let's go back to the stage, a ballet stage. Where do you, how do you prepare for your roles? Where do you get your inspiration?
I watch a lot of videos to see different dances, depending on the role. Sometimes it's also not good to watch too much. We, most of the time, have, depending on the ballet, we have guest teachers who work with us, who explain the role, who really tell us what's important. I also sometimes read books. Not so often, maybe more often I read just like online. the stories, or like just to understand what a character is about. So I do that, and I just try to see inspiration. And also, if there's other casts for the role, I will always like watch them and see what I like and pick little things that I change about myself, how I do the role, how I present the role.
What is your favorite ballet step? Which one is the most natural? Jumps or turns?
I really like turns because I think it's a challenge. Some days it can be easier and very satisfying, and some days it's very hard. But I think the easiest for me personally might be adagio, which doesn't make it necessarily my favorite step. I do like jumps, but they're definitely the hardest for me.
I had a chance to see the dancers like from the wings, and I think some dancers have some rituals when they jump on the stage. Do you have like any rituals?
Yes, I do actually. What I do is that before I go on stage, I like stripe out my arms and my legs, and like I feel like I put out all the negative energy, and I just feel like more free. So that's what I do before I go on stage. Actually, like it started like this, that I was once, I'm usually not very nervous, but once I didn't have much time to prepare for a role. So I really thought, like, how is this going to be possible to go on stage and do a full-length ballet with having had like 2 days of rehearsal? So then Nikisha told me, like, you know what, just like stripe out the bad energy, you can do it. And ever since, I think I've done it before every performance.
If you had not been a ballet dancer, what would you have done?
I think I would still be connected to some kind of movement. Like I love to do these like workouts and Pilates, like fitness kind of thing. So I might have been in some way teaching these kind of businesses. I might still do that at some point in my life. Or I also thought I could have done something that involves traveling, like, I don't know, working with airplanes, or because I always love traveling to different countries, and so it would be great to have a job that also does that.
What do you do in your spare time? Like I see that like during Corona, you, for example, got your Pilates certificate. Can you tell us about that and other ventures that you did recently?
So it's a bit separate, I would say, to talk about spare time and Corona time, because in my spare time, usually I do different things than what I've done during Corona, because during the first, I think, 2 months of Corona, we were kind of forced to not leave the flat. And usually in my spare time, I am never home. I'm doing everything, just not being home. So what I did during Corona is that I did all like workouts and classes at home. I worked with Jakob on our project, and I also started teaching my parents Pilates. So I was teaching them every day. And then we got the idea that I just could do the certificate so that I could officially teach Pilates everywhere I want to. So then I started to do an online certificate, and as soon as the Corona regulations went a bit looser, I was able to go to the studio and do my final exam, and I have the certificate now.
Great. And you also did some like online classes during Corona. I remember seeing you in one of the live classes.
Yes, I almost forgot that this time was so long. It feels like such a long time ago, almost, because I've done so much ever since as well. So yeah, I was also teaching like on Instagram Live a few lessons, like maybe once, twice a week. And I also teach some of the students I've met the previous summer in the Philippines, in Manila. is a very close friend of mine. She's a teacher there. She has a ballet school, and I did some Zoom classes with them, and that was a lot of fun as well.
Right. Okay. And can you describe your daily routine during the quarantine?
So in the first week, that I definitely I actually woke up very early every day. I guess I wasn't very tired. So I woke up early, had a coffee. I started with a bar over Zoom that I joined, or sometimes I teach, sometimes I join different classes from all over the world. And later on in the quarantine, we also had classes provided by the Vienna State Opera. So I was doing these classes. I was doing Instagram live workouts from everywhere, every time something different. I was working on my Pilates certificate. I was studying. I was teaching my parents. I also had my own classes from Pilates from my Pilates teacher. So I was just like busy. I was having like FaceTime calls with my friends, and I just kept occupied.
Do you see yourself as a teacher after your active dancing career ends? I mean, you are still like very young, so we hope to see you on the stages for a long, long time. Like, how do you feel about teaching?
So right now, as you see in the picture, I'm currently this week, and I think 2 weeks ago I already went there. I'm teaching at Académie de la Danse in Vienna, where I'm teaching some students, and it's a lot of fun, but I don't know if that's something I would do after my career. It's very exhausting because it's like a lot, and to concentrate on so many people and to show it, to work, it's a really hard job actually. So I do enjoy it for the moment, but I don't know if I would do it like full time. I think I can imagine working in this profession, or maybe having private students, working on variations, but maybe not like a full class of like 10 people every day. That's like a lot.
So I don't know like much about like Austria regarding the pandemics, but what are your plans after the pandemics? So like what is the next project? Like you mentioned something about like European Ballet Theater. What else do you have in Vienna State Opera? What is the plan for the next season?
I think in general for the coming seasons, I just want to dance as much as I can everywhere in the world, and dance as many roles, travel, just do all the things that we usually do as a dancer before Corona started. And anytime there's some little other projects or anything that could fit into the dancer's schedule, I would obviously love to do that, but my first priority is to continue and develop as a ballet dancer, and to become the best of myself that I could.
During the pandemics, I think we all found some free time to do things that uh, outside of our job, like reading books, like watching Netflix. Like, can you recommend us like the last book that you read, the last movie that you watched?
I have to say that I actually didn't watch TV for about 2 or 3 months because I never had time. As weird as it sounds, I think I had more time watching movies before Corona than I did during, because I did so many other things that I actually didn't watch TV anymore. I think the first 2 weeks of quarantine, I watched quite a lot of like TV shows, all kind of things, whatever would come up on Netflix. But I don't remember what was the last one because it was really long time ago, because I just couldn't find the time lately. And books, I don't know what was the one before, but I just started reading The Lady of the Camellias, which is a famous ballet as well, and I was always curious to actually know the right story, because obviously I know the story from the ballet and everything, but it was time to read the book as well.
Like hopefully, like someday soon, all the artists will be back on the stage. So I want to ask you about Vienna State Opera and Ballet. So do you watch any performance from the audience's side? And the second question is, what performance do you think we should watch if we ever come to Vienna?
I didn't watch so many shows from the audience, just once in a while. I more often watch, if I don't dance a show, I would rather watch it from backstage, because I have a problem sitting on a chair for too long. I love to sit in a split or like stretch while I watch it, so I prefer watching backstage. But I think to recommend, it's very hard to say what I would recommend, because everyone has very different tastes. If you like classical ballet or modern ballet, so I think you should just maybe watch some trailers and see what makes you most excited. And yeah, maybe choose a classic or a new creation, so it can be anything.
Wonderful. So I think we are coming to the end of our broadcast. It was a great pleasure to get to know you, and we wish you like all the success in your career.
Thank you.
Do you have like final words? Any advice maybe for the younger dancers?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on your podcast. It was great, and something new also, that there was like videos and pictures. I think it was very interesting. I hope a lot of people had the chance to watch it, and I hope that we meet in the future again and work together in some ways. So I'm really looking forward, and I'm happy we've got to know each other a little bit. And yeah, just for everyone who's been watching, thank you for tuning in. And if you ever have any questions, I think everyone feel free to just write me and ask anything you want to know.
Thank you so much, and a good evening. Take care. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.